yourself into levels that you never thought was possible. You can accomplish anything with your mind. Just believe in yourself. I can't change who I was, but I know who I am. I overstand situations, standing under programs. I guess that makes me the eyeball out. You shocked and terrified by the words coming out my mouth. I can't see why you scared if you don't know what I'm talking about. You must be looking in my window, listen to my instrumental, knowing that I keep it simple. Different mentals, high potentials, but my mother made them crystal. The living God is what she sent you. All praise is due to her, and you too, because the wisdom in these words is only meant for the chosen. This is just what I do. Been doing since 13. See when you walking in the light, my God, you living in a dream.
And we have endured a long time. Politics is the natural beast that we all must face. And so consequently, we cannot say that politics is foolishness because we live in a political situation. What I do say is that I appreciate those of you who were over at our table and who spoke with me during the conversation and also during the forum that was going here at the Slave. I thank you for, if you could, again, as some of you have to leave, if you'll please just kind of leave quietly. I wish you could stay, but I realize it is getting late. Let me say, first of all, for those of you who are patient and some of you wondered again why I wasn't here earlier, we had a misfortune in New York, as you heard, based on some bombings of Israeli-owned buildings, okay, in England, and so they feel that there is a bomb threat here. When we got off the, please, if you will, please. When we got off the plane, the driver, Brother Brown, and I will say he's a very patient man, we had to go through downtown Manhattan. That was a mess. That was a no-no. They had, of course, some of the scavenger trucks and big equipment trucks filled with sand. They had barricades around some of the big buildings, and it tied up all the traffic. What normally should have been a 40 to 45-minute drive took us 3 hours and 15 minutes. And that's where the delay came. And, of course, again, Attorney Maddox was patient enough to wait until 8, but we couldn't get here to then. Therefore, they started that part of the field. So please understand it was not his fault. In fact, it was nobody's fault. If you want to blame it on somebody, blame it on the bomb threat, okay? Let me also say that I want to thank, again, Brother Attorney Maddox. I want to thank the members of United African Movement. I want to thank again Minister Conrad Muhammad, because I just got to meet him. I've wanted to do so for some time. Reverend Sharpton, Sister Falani, Sister Russell, again, for her patience in trying to coordinate my getting here. I come from Chicago, and I stay very busy also, and I feel it is an honor to be with you at the Slave. And also Brother Benjamin for his patience as we drove through the snarled mess in New York. Since the hour is short, I'm going to have to get to the points very quickly. I don't have time to give a lot of preliminary, unfortunately, but again, I do hold classes in New York, and if you come out to some of them, we can get into more details. I hold classes every other Saturday here. Some of you asked me, so I'll just tell you if you want to jot it down, if you are interested. Some of you came out to Reverend Daughtry's church and so on like this. I hold classes, again, at the Masonic Lodge, the Morning Star Lodge, around the corner here, 1255 Bedford, every other Saturday. Okay, it's from 12 to 6. We have intensives. And this Saturday, I have 2 films that we're going to show. They're on video. One is the Waco lie. It shows what they will do to their own under certain circumstances. Once you see the film, and it speaks for itself, it's only 25 minutes, it will show that Waco never went the way that they told you. And one that some of you, I understand, have already seen, some of you have not, again. It's the Panama deception, showing again about the lie when they tested out new weaponry and why they had false political reasons for doing what they did also there in Panama. We have both of those films. The films speak for themselves. You may not like what you see, but as black people, we have not liked what we've seen for a very long time, so that's nothing new. It's just a way of seeing again that the lie perpetuates and the beast is still out there. I also have, again, and you can get this in the rear, the new Constitution, the proposed new amendments to the United States Constitution that will leave it almost null and void from what it was before. And that is, of course, when the New World Order takes power, and in the process of doing that now. Because of the situation on our planet with the various 5 races that we supposedly have, and we're not talking about any of the so-called underworld races, because of the times that are changing in our heavens and in our solar system, as our own sun begins to put out more and more radiation and begins to make life on Earth comply, and those that will not comply will cease to exist or wish that they were dead because they'll be disease-ridden. These plagues that you read about in the various holy books, these fortune-telling things that you hear from some of the psychics, these ideas that you're coming up with that things are not right, are manifested, first of all, politically, in the form of the new money. And by the way, I propose to tell you that on the 21st of next month, they will begin to issue the new money. That is their schedule. To me, people should be in the streets and protesting that right and left, but they're not doing so. By 1996, they will have the new money in place, and then if you have not turned in your old money, then it will be 2 for 1. You turn in 2 of your new monies, they'll give you 1 of the new ones that they have, your old monies, and they'll give you 1 of the new ones. That's going to really hurt a lot of people, and it also means if you have any money saved or hidden, it will become useless piles of rubbish. You can play hopscotch with it if you would. You can write on it. These kind of things are part of the New World Order, including, if you've heard any of my other tapes or lectures, a lot of other insidious things like the shots that your children will have to start taking this September. They're even getting jail terms now for parents that will not comply, and it is unconstitutional under the Constitution that we presently have. Through religious means, you can refuse that, and as African people and Afrocentric people, you should be into herbals and things anyway. So, what I'm simply saying is this: you should look into that. Because the new scandal is, and I am not saying anything for those who are taping this and saying again I'm getting radical. I'm not a radical person. I'm a very studious person and a very prayerful, meditative person. When I say these things, I have documents. I don't have time to now present them, as they say, but I can tell you about this. Come out to my classes, contact me at the center. We'll give you the detailed information. There is a group of people, parents, who have lost children through these DPT shots. Okay? They are now organizing in class action suits against various departments in the United States government. They are also helping people who don't want to get their kids vaccinated and don't want to go to jail because of it. As I say, it is still your constitutional right as of this month. We don't know how long under this New World Order before this whole thing will be suspended. If you are interested in that, please contact me or please contact the Meta Center in Chicago. My topic tonight was to be, and it still will be, but an abbreviated version of it again: will or can you survive the coming catastrophes that we've been hearing about? We understand that there are 4 basic elements that keep everything in our little section of the universe going. Earth, or what we call land. What else? Air, fire, and water. Fire can be utilized in the form of electromagnetic propagations, or what we call energies that produce like a fire thing. Lightning can be a force of that. Air, we breathe it every day. We have whole topics on oxygen and how oxygen products can help you maintain and get the fire breath into your own bodies. Also, when we talk about water, we understand that water for turbine engines and other things along this line are what keeps our entire society going. And of course, when we're talking more or less about air, we're talking about the air we breathe. Now, each of those 4 elements from the Creator, and I hope some of you believe in the Creator. If not, then call the Creator whatever you would. I believe in a first cause and an originator of all. I don't think that human made man and so on down the line. When we are faced with the earth in rebellion, we have earthquakes. Has anybody heard of any earthquakes later or earlier or now on this planet Earth? Anybody heard about the earthquake soon or later or previously? Okay, we are being plagued with earthquakes. When fire goes in rebellion against human, we have the kind of things that you have in the forest fires out in Oregon and in California and in Texas and Louisiana. You have lightning that will strike whole cities and people seemingly by accident. Nothing on this planet happens by accident. Everything follows a course and a pattern. It's just a matter of beginning to understand what that course and pattern is. Water let's talk about the floods that are ravaging the South. 21 counties presently now in Georgia, and especially in Albany, that are just now costing about $11 billion a county if they ever get the money to the little people whose homes have been destroyed. We have floods throughout the land. Philadelphia now is getting rains and monsoon rains. I just came from Chicago. We had unprecedented rain, if you call it, this year. You know what you've had here yourself. The waters in most of the oceans are also rising. They don't tell you that. But understand that that means that all coastal areas, per se, facing the waters are in deep trouble. Not just from earth and fire, but water. And last of all, the very thing that gives us our life, the air we breathe. When air is in turbulence and the element of air goes against humans, you get hurricanes, tornadoes, windstorms, seiches, whirlpools, and all whirlpools are those eddy currents working in water. You even have combined things now, combined elements working against and to the detriment of man. We read in the Holy Bible, for those of you who are biblical. We read in the Quran, for those of you who are Islamic. We read in most of the holy sage books of Confucian, Lao Tse, that there will be times of great plagues upon the land that was called Shan, or Terra, that is our planet Earth, and that when these plagues hit, none that does not have the mark or none that does not carry the spiritual essence will be saved alive. It doesn't say they will not be saved. It says they will not be saved alive. It simply means that you have the potential to lose a physical body. Metaphysics, which I try to expound on and teach and reach and pray to understand, teaches that we are not physical but in physical bodies. So that is made up of a planet must go back to that planet when these things begin to happen. Already you hear about AIDS. You're hearing about a disease now in New York, in Philadelphia, in California, in Lower Saskatchewan, Canada, in Chicago, in Houston, and I'm not sure how many other places. These just come to my mind, where there's a virus that is now eating its way from inside out, consuming people's entrails and then causing a speeded up type of cancer, melanoma on the skin. In Australia, and you're not hearing much of this on the news, but check it out. In Australia, you have close to 26,000 rabbits per 100 acres of land. Now that might not mean much to you, but understand that kind of propagation, and that those are the ones that eat vegetables, the same thing that can help our immune systems to fight off things again. Now hear this figure and you won't want to believe it. You have close to 32 million rats, 32 million rats for 200 acres in Australia. The people are giving up their lands because the rodents are plagued, and the rodents carry other disease organisms with them, including fleas, malaria, and other kind of diseases. And they go to the shoreline, they infect the lower animal vibrations there. After that, we have found now that the United States government and other so-called first world powers are dumping pure radiation into the oceans. They are dumping PCBs, psilocybins, things that are very detrimental to the human body and to all of mankind on this planet. They are so polluting the waters that the highest vibration of mammals are dying. Some of you may know what I say, this little phrase, that Nomo is vacating the earth and giving up the life sperm in order to keep the oceans sacred for just a little bit longer. For those of you who did not understand that, I simply say this. There are ancient teachings that the new spirit came into the land, not only in man, but in the porpoise and in the dolphin, who were to keep at least quiet the beasts that were brought from other planets by humans, and to keep them from destroying all of the life forms that were in the ocean that had spiritual essence. That's why they're very psychic. They are already giving up their spirit to try and change the vibrations of the oceans. Now you may not like that, you may not even believe that, but remember, you heard that. When Nomo gives up the ghost, so much others, and this is where again you have so many innocents dying. It is all part of a plan. Since we cannot die, but we can only transform ourselves, then some life forms, like in Rwanda, like in Biafra there in the, the 60s, like in Zaire and places like this, these little spirits, these little children, know that they will not have long to stay physical, but they're willing to come in, these kind of spirits, to give up their essences still in purity to change vibration. Sacrifice is happening all over this planet. I guess it kind of bugged me as I listened for a while here, and I normally would not have been maybe exposed to that, and I'm glad it is, because the Creator works in mysterious ways. I heard a debate here between a black woman and black men as to what politics should be followed. Understand something, and I'm not putting down Brother Sharpton. I love him. I had him on my radio show when he was in Chicago. I'm not putting down El Maddox. I'm not putting down Fulani. I'm not getting involved in any of that. What I'm simply saying is this: all of these politics will be nondescript within 3 years' time, and remember, you heard me say that. They don't even intend to honor any constitutional rights. They want to assume dictatorial powers, and they want to kill off anybody spiritual of any color because they're afraid that the planet is going to rebel against them and they will be dead. So understand this too. Let's put first things first. There is a spiritual side to things for those of you who understand spirit. There's a practical side, and I think spirit is very practical for those of you who just understand mundane physical things. And there is a mental side of things for those who can think both spiritually and physically and do the best they can, not to survive, but to be able to go and walk tall in the new vibrations. Now, for some of you, this will sound silly. Good. For those of you who can understand vibrations, you will see that there's a message that I'm giving you, the one that you've been wanting to hear, and the one that you will find very practical as soon as you leave here. Did you notice the rain that began to fall while all of the turmoil was going on here, if you would, and when some of you wanted to leave, you couldn't because it was raining too badly. So you had to hear both sides of the story. Nature always speaks, and nature always reacts to man's vibrations, to man's thoughts, not so much to human thoughts and to mankind, but to man. When man can understand, and I'm talking about a neuter gender, I'm talking about womb man as well as man, I'm talking about the phylum that has a relationship with the higher forces of the universe, who are here on this little planet for a little test for a little while, and that test this time, once again, is nearing an end. How do you know? Just observe. When the four basic primary forces act negatively in mass, the planet is now turned upon its chief inhabitant. Earth herself, fire, water, and air are turning on you. You can still quell that spiritual essence of those fire elements, of those water elements, if you get in sync and in tune. Once your bloodstream is messed up with these shots, once your mind is polluted with some of the rap music and record, which has a beta beat, a control beat, it's the same kind of way where they use altered states and subliminals to control masses of people. Once they dangle the politics, and on the federal level, you have no control any longer as black people of any politics in this nation. The computers are programmed against you. Hear what I said. Once you begin to understand all of that, and that the real fight has nothing to do with politics, has nothing to do with what religion you are, has nothing to do but one thing: who will survive on this planet into the new age and who will die or have to leave it. Your melanin, and you've heard me say this before, some of you have the tape, The Melanin Wars. Your melanin is your key, and that's why you were born into black bodies during this dispensation. It can change vibrations. It can work with the elements of water, fire, air, and on the earth itself, from which your body is mainly composed. It can help you to adapt. But low melanin, low ACTH secretion from the pineal gland cannot adapt. That is the one that has animal poisons in it, animal serums within it. It is the one when the mind and the brain cannot hit on high functions, but goes on a low beastly function. Melanin renews itself every night between 10:30 and 3 o'clock, general. During this time, you get the energy to stay in these bodies, keep them strong, and keep your minds clean. Our planet, as is well pointed out, and if you have any doubts of this, look at all the study on melanin, look at the Atlanta child murders, look at the extraction that is being taken from black bodies before the people are entombed to get that melanin out of the pineal gland, to get it from the orchic gland of the little males, and from the little uterus from the little children, the females at puberty. Why do you think they want this? Why are they trying to make synthetic melanin? It is all for one reason. It is that when in a physical body that will help you to raise your vibrations, to take the new emanations directly from the sun and not die, not become sick in the mind and body, and help you to live through even radiation poisonings that will kill off what you now consider your enemy. Let me say something about that briefly too. In many cases, some of you were your enemy. Now that was another one you probably don't like also. I can't help that. I try to speak truth. Some of you incarnated as a Caucasian at another time. This time you're in black bodies and you like it so, but you have a chance now to be more warrior. You have a chance now to get rid of some of that hatred and things along this line by coming into it in the black body. Everything on this planet is in synchronization. Everything is in order. If you don't like the order as it is, then you must change mentally your thoughts. Spiritually, then your vibrations. The planet doesn't ask it, it senses that, and where it finds that, it gives it its best. Where it doesn't find it, as of now, it is trying to annihilate it or removing. So much so that the planet has sent out an SOS. That SOS has been heard by the people who inhabit the sun vibration. That is your highest fire sign. They are now sending forth energies and beams to transpose what is normally the electromagnetic field of Earth and change it to a higher polarity. That means that people who cannot put forth the melanin, cannot raise their spiritual vibration, you don't have to worry about going to war with them. You'd lose that war anyway within 1 month's time. And let me say something again. I heard a very dangerous comment that seems to be still rising again. It went with Marcus Garvey. It was dangerous then, and that's why that movement was stopped. If you ever isolate yourselves into a couple of states or into one country, look what they're doing to the country where your ancestors and your best are anyway now. They would give you everything negative they could think of just like that. Your safety is amongst them, but not mentally amongst them. Be with the beast, but not of the beast. Understand what I'm saying to you. One man standing beside another human with the right vibrations can have lightning strike that other human and roll past the man. One man given a shot, even if they must get your arm and give you poisons, if the poisons can be prepared for, can be digested and tolerated 10 times better than the person who does not have melanin. Understand also that they are going to your ancestors' homes in the earth. Ask any of the people from Asia about that. I've talked with some of them. They understand that that preparation of the land under, where Osiris talked about, the land of the underworld, was your key when this got ready. They can't even go into some of those places, but they're duplicating them. They are building underground cities to run from all the things that are going to be unleashed on the surface, and don't have to wait long to find out if what I'm telling you is true. It is happening as we speak. As we speak, the Atlantic rises. As we speak, the Pacific rises. As we speak, there are floods in the central part of the United States. Sinkholes 2 miles wide are appearing in these flooded areas now, and things are dropping into them. In order to do that, there must be hollow spaces beneath there. Where do you think these things are going to? It will affect the pyramids, and that will be a sign that will really show that the disorders are erupting. It will affect everything on earth because it is time for a change. You want a change, but you don't understand just how drastic that change can be. And one thing is for sure, if they wiped you out to a person like they threatened, they would be wiped out within the next year totally. They cannot wipe you out. They have to assimilate with you or make you wipe yourself out and assimilate with them, and that's your problem. When you can understand who you are, when you can understand what you are, and when you can understand why you are, you will have solved most of the equation. Everything that humans, now that you call Caucasians in power, want for themselves, you should not have, because they don't have much melanin. Everything that is usually good for them is probably not too good for you, because they don't have much melanin. Everything that they are afraid of is probably something that you can get along with, because they don't have much melanin. Don't be confused by the O.J. Simpson trial, a proposed mafia government coordinated plan to make you watch the boob tube. Understand something else. If this is not so, why would they replace the soaps that are sponsored by billions of dollars an hour across network television, worldwide, satellite communication? Why would they duplicate and replace that with the O.J. Simpson trial? Because that's the best soap, and it shows a melanin man, and it shows him going through hell. And what are you doing? You can quote that better than what's happening in many cases in your own family. That may not be true with some of you here, but I'm sure it's true with a lot of you here. Another thing they told you about the Jupiter shot, and Jupiter was going to be blasted away. All right, I won't be ludicrous. I'll say exactly what they told you. They said that Ganymede would probably be blown apart or in some way disoriented, which would affect the huge planet Jupiter because of 21 fragmented parts of a huge comet which was supposed to hit Jupiter. One of the biggest lies ever told. If you will only go back and understand that 2.5 years ago, under Alternative 3 out of the Alternative 12, and some of you have read the book, the Jason scholars proposed to send Galileo a multi-megaton warhead through the solar system to strike, first of all, what they thought was not Ganymede, but Titan, the largest moon of Jupiter. Then they chose Io and Europa. I have no idea how their warped minds think. But what they had was an alien engine which would now enable them to go, and that tells you before they had the alien engine, all of those moonshots and stuff was just propaganda. They went nowhere, okay? But now, as soon as they get a little power, they want to misuse it. They want to show, just like Hitler, Adolf Hitler, to rule the world, that they had the power to strike terror into the inhabitants on Titan. Turnabout now, they said it hit Ganymede. And then, what has happened to the other 20 fragments? Have you heard much about it? I haven't, after the Big Bang happened. Listen to this, and think back and go back and get your papers and see if I'm lying or not. They stated that these things, these fragments of that comet, would hit the reverse side of Jupiter, which means the side that we cannot see. If we cannot see it, and Galileo, a little pinpoint in the heavens of the Creator, can't even get from here to Mars without help, can't even get to the moon without help, how in all blazes can it send back pictures from the other side of Jupiter when all those frequency storms are happening on Jupiter itself? Come on now. Let's not believe every little lie that the great master tells us again if we're supposed to be men. That is a diversion. If they tell you to look up, where should you look? That's where you should be looking. The new money is coming out on the 21st of August. All you people that have money hidden, it's going to become confiscated as you watch it in 1.5 years' time. In '66, if you have not turned in your money, you will not get the money that you've already saved and been taxed, overtaxed, if you let me talk about it, anyway. In addition to which, that heralds the suspension of the Constitution, a declaration of martial law, and anarchy foots in America. That's why Clinton can't carry out any of his promises. He's a politician, but he had a little bit of man in him. He can't do anything. They killed his mother. Don't you understand that? Understand, folks, that as things are going now, you are being given decision-making time. You can waste your time with politics. You can waste your time with soap operas. You can waste your time worrying when they're coming from you, or you can begin to act ahead of time and bring in the very forces that can change all of this, give you the politicians you want, if you want politics, give you the body you want to stand against the radiation if you want it, give you the mental ability to fight some of the sublimation that they're constantly beaming at you, and they're bringing back, and you know this, all of the old magic once more. You see, magic is only misunderstood science. They're bringing back the very things that can help you to stand up against a tyrant. not with machine guns. They make them better than you ever could and mask them better than you ever could. But there are things that can stop them from even trying to pull the machine gun. There are things that can stop them from even breathing to be able to think of making machine guns. But as long as you are amongst them and you don't know who you are, you give them power. They milk you constantly in your mind and spirit for power, and you let them do it. You send your young to them to be miseducated and trained, and then given serum inoculations so they can draw it out and give them to their young who cannot produce it, and then you say you're smart. You will not take a stand to defend your young in September going to school because you might go to jail, but by 1997, if you don't comply, you're going to be in jails anyway. Why don't you stand up? Understand, I'm not asking you to marshal yourselves up, to take any of the forms of the martial arts, to take any of the forms of the comedic arts. I'm not telling you to hit the streets and curse people at all. You don't have the power to do that. But you have the power to invoke planetary powers, to let the planet know that someone that she can love has now awakened and come to their senses once more. She, Terra, will take care of the rest for you. There is no enemy that cannot be vanquished if you can get your vibrations together right. And this is why they're keeping you so confused, giving you false everythings so that you will not go back and do what you were built and born here to do, become spiritual, meditate. You don't have to wait to go to church. Every minute of your life should be spent in trying to understand who you are and understand that something is wrong out here and you want to make you right. If every one of you made you right, who would be wrong? You don't need anything but yourself. You don't need constant debates like this, which antagonize. I heard people booing a black woman and yaying a black man, and that is foolishness. Those are not your enemies. Some of them are misguided. Some of them think that they are guided right, but they will listen. They are souls that are strong and want to lead. Give them something to lead. Not politics, but spiritual worthiness, spiritual manifestations of soul force, and watch what you can do. Watch how your enemy will vanquish, but right now, you are your worst enemy. No white man, no white woman, no political assassinations, nothing but yourselves, because you are the one holding back the change that your planet wants, and then you wonder why you're getting earthquakes, why you're getting hurricanes and tornadoes. Some of you asked me, I had a little 350 booklet of prophecy. Many of you have read it. But listed in there will tell you what's going to happen in the United States. The I Am America folks have put out a map that shows you in their spiritualness what they think will happen to the United States. Scallion put out a map and said what he thinks will happen to the United States. If you want to know what's going to happen in the United States, do your meditations. Just do it for 7 days at the same time. Do a little fasting and then ask the Creator to reveal it to you. You are the people, you are the souls, you are the vibrations that can change all this mess, or you can allow it to happen, because if you don't know who you are, everything will be started all over again. I've hit on a lot of different areas quickly. I'm sorry for that. I wanted to spend more time. But things are all in order. There was a reason why some of you had to stay this long, and while others who probably would not have even entertained it left. I don't question the Creator any longer as long as I try to give the Creator's word. If you feel my voice, if you hear my tone, if you hear my vibrations, you know that you're hearing truth. If you don't, then sorry for me, sorry for you. Somebody, somewhere will hit that chord, and you know when you do hear it. I am stating to you, time, as we understand it, in these little flimsy bodies, is very short. But time is forever in the mind and for the spirit. But to reach forever, you must begin now, not never, to do what is necessary to change your vibrations so you can hold the new energy from the planet Earth. In England, they have concentration camps ready to entomb. I call it that, consecration a person and confining them to a small area is entombment. 30 million, and their only population, as I understand it, is 38 million. In the United States, they have at least 26 areas can be used for concentration camps. Why do you think they're giving up all of these little training forts where they used to train you for going to combat with your fellow humans and your fellow man? All of those. Plus, they have underground areas that they have now discovered, and they can take you down there and lock you up in there. Okay? As we speak, they are constantly making serums and things that can annihilate your body, or better than that, cause you to secrete immune fluids, which they can tap into either at death or before, and read what happens to bodies once you die, and before they shoot the embalming fluid into, watch the state inspector come around, and then watch if that person has melanin, how they stay around a little bit longer, eviscerating and so taking those glandular secretions. Why is that black body so important? Because there is a black body in space. There's a whole area in space that is covered with melanin. It is a gaseous, viscous type of thing that absorbs light. You see concentrations of it called black holes, and you're beginning to fear black holes. You should love every black hole that you see. Watch it. When you begin to see this kind of negativity, which they call the absence of light, if you understand, darkness is light, because the opposite of darkness is where light is created. That's why there was nothing in void. Don't want to spend time with that. We just don't have the time. I was going to lay it on you heavy, but I got to skim through it. They understand, and there is a book out, and I'm trying to get it, so I'm not going to tell you what it is, because if I can get it, I want to sell it, make some money, and help us to do what we're trying to do to offset this in our group, the Meta Center. But it talks about the new blackness, not blackness as a race, the new blackness in space that is coming this way, that is your deliverer. About the suns that are dark suns. How many of you know about the dark suns? All you hear about are the light, bright suns. You don't hear about the dark suns that convert light suns. And the light suns convert planets, and so on and so on the line. This is a momentous time that you should not be living in fear of, because fear brings in the very thing that you are afraid of. This is a time that whatever you love or are willing to stand up and see how much you are worth, you can make changes for. Every time there are solar prominences before this year, there was usually a lot of turmoil and wars on lands on Earth. But to tell people on Earth that you can affect your sun, that becomes too logical. The sun is a tremendous body that works on its own by magic and just fries us or anything else. That is not true. The sun is a step up or step down transformer that will bring to you what you want based on your rate of vibration. Let me say in closing, because they told me again about the time essence here. When you know who you are, you can recognize friend and enemy before they even speak. You tune to their vibrations. You don't ask them what month were they born in. Is you a Gemini with a dual personality? Or are you a Sag? Or are you a... That doesn't even matter. That only shows you the point of origin that that soul came in and tendencies. On Earth, this is a big experimental place. It is not tendencies, but actual facts that you carry out. Everybody that is man and spiritual knows right from wrong. You don't need a policeman. You don't need mommy or daddy or friend to tell you you're wrong. And so much so that melanin carriers have to get high to do the wrong, and then they excuse themselves by saying, I was high, that's why I did it. But it's recorded in your engram neuron synapse points, everything that you do, and you will make your own body pay for it, because the melanin, which has to go back to the creator, will not allow you to do anything else. So you can play for a while like little kids in a playground. Or you can give up the little sand pits and the little swings and the teeter-totter and begin to stand up and understand who you are. I challenge you with this. If you think this was foolishness, just get 2 other people. I didn't say where those people were, who those people were. 2 other people that you feel might be able to understand what you just heard. Meditate, if you can, within an hour of the same time for 3 days. If you could do it on a new moon, or when you don't see any moon out there at all, so much the better. By the fruition of the full moon, and you all know what that is, whatever it is that you meditated on, if you were sincere, you should see something that's showing you you are bringing it about. I didn't put limits on it. Don't ask me, does that mean about getting money? Does that mean about getting rid of diseases? I didn't put a limit. I said, try it with 2 other people faithfully. Not just on a Sunday when you go to church and a minister says it, you become your minister. Try it with 2 other people with your kind of energy pattern and mean it. Don't ask, don't beg, state, I am willing to pay with my energies and I will do this for this. And watch what can happen. I've seen it happen. I'm supposed to be blind, I'm supposed to be dead, I've been in situations, people say, how can you talk like this? When I don't talk like this is when I'm going to be in trouble. When you don't begin to act on somebody's conversation like mine quickly, you are going to be in trouble. I'm not saying me. Somebody's vibrations will let you know you're hearing the right thing. You know every day that you're sensing something, but you just didn't know what it was. I want to close with a poem. I don't even know if it's time enough to begin to answer questions and comments and this kind of thing, and I do respect, as I say, it is again not Brother Maddox nor UAM that is responsible for this. It was one of those kind of things. We couldn't get through the traffic, and that's the way it was supposed to be. I entitle this poem, Hugh Man. O magnificent beast on this strange enchanted land, you roam your asphalt jungle, clothed in skin that we call man. Insensitive, incredulous, incongruous to all of God's created works that you find both large and small. Just how long can you wander in your self-appointed web of total make-believe about who and what was said, changing who, changing how, and what was in antiquity, as the whole world comes to know how you've lied of history. By distortion, deletion, deception, and disguise, you've altered written records from the cosmos to our skies. You've reconstructed universes and summoned even hell, and there seems to be no end to the lies your mouth can tell. What you view on graphs and prisms, what you see on lens and scope seems too staggering to your mind and ego brain, and so to cope, you'll distort the very heavens, you'll change the smallest beast. There's nothing you won't do to let your fame increase, and yet you know within, from the most unto the least, that your time is running out, and your lies, they soon must cease. As we view each bright new morning, even through polluted skies, we know that there is a creator, for creation never lies. And so we come together, we new melon carriers tried and true, seeking blessings from our creator and divine release from you. I thank you.
Dr. Delbert, Blair, let's give a big hand. Dr. Delbert, Blair.
That makes me the eyeball out. You shocked and terrified by the words coming out my mouth. I can't see why you scared if you don't know what I'm talking about. You must be peeping in my windows, listen to my instrumentals, knowing that I keep it simple. Different mentals, high potentials. When my mother made from crystals, the living God is what she sent you. All praises to